thought I'd share with you a little bit more on the background of my spiritual journey and basically why I've struggled with it and why some parts of it have been really amazing and peaceful and blissful, and other parts have been really dark to the depths of my being and my issues. And why today I found some love and peace again in my heart, a deep love and peace with the world and myself. Not an everlasting love or anything like that, but a real breakthrough for me. And basically, I had an awakening experience that spontaneously happened on my bed about October last year, where I felt all this energy in my heart center. And I didn't even believe in chakras at that point. Not that I didn't believe in them, but I just had no experience of them, had no reason to think they existed. Until all this energy surged out and exploded out of my heart. And it felt like I was just taken to another dimension. It was unconditional love. And it really opened my eyes up to this whole spiritual path. So that was a really positive segue into spirituality for me. But then what happened is that many months after that, I had a similar experience where I was listening to music and meditating, and instead of surrendering to what this experience, this deep meditative state, I started resisting. I put myself in a state of panic as I felt like all of my world was slipping away and I was slipping into nothing. So my ego sort of flipped out and didn't gently surrender into the vastness of the true self, the higher self, or source, or God, or whatever label you want to put on that divine essence within all of us. And that caused me a lot of fear that night, deep existential fear. And it traumatized me to the core of my being. And for many months after this experience, I just struggled to integrate. And I noticed all these new capacities coming into my physical body and waking reality, including new levels of mastery and understanding in manifestation. That was a bonus. And also like flowing and things like that, but also just other qualities such as feeling like I'm isolated, like I can't talk to anyone about this, or that I don't even know what's going on with me. And just some kind of deep root issue within me was so triggered that night. And it was, I guess, the fear of, it didn't even feel like the fear of death. It felt like the fear of ceasing to be important to anyone. But I suppose death was a part of it, but it was just this deep fear. And a part of me came to India knowing that I would have to sort of look at this further, because I started avoiding getting into deep meditative states whenever I'd feel energy rise up to my third eye or anything like that. I would just kind of like suppress it, turn the other way, like do something else to distract myself and sort of calm it down, calm the energy flow and the expansiveness of the consciousness that I've now felt like I can tap into on some days. Other days I just don't notice it at all, and I'm all blocked up and I'm just like totally regular person as I used to be that wouldn't have a clue that this whole realm of spirituality even exists. That's me on many days. But on some days there's just this higher frequency, and on very, very particular days, special days, this energy almost just wants to expand and explode out of me. It's something so new and it sounds kind of wacky, but this is what spirituality is. And when you come to a place like India, this is all normal to them. They all are aware of this divine essence within them. Anyway, so in meditation today, I was doing some spontaneous inner work when I was meant to be meditating. I was kind of just doing this technique of, I felt a blockage in my solar plexus chakra, and that's, or energy center, just above the navel area, and that's to do with willpower and creativity and that life force energy to express who you are. have had blockages in that. And so that was playing up. And I just sort of focused on the energy, and I really just put my conscious awareness on the energy. And I kind of said to myself, some part of myself, take me to a place buried in my subconscious mind where this memory, where this energy is connected to some past memory or past experience that I'm still holding on to, and show me an image of that memory so I can look at it, love it, and release it and let it go, and hopefully clear some of that energy and create that flow of consciousness all throughout my being more freely and purely. So I was doing this, and I was actually feeling it like pull up and release, and I'd get flashes to myself as a teenager battling, depression, and little flashes back to being a child and feeling, like I compared myself to my brother unconsciously, feeling how sad and shy I was and insecure I was as a young child, just sort of looking at that version of me and loving it and trying to release it. But then I felt the energy like pulling up as I was doing this. It kind of like went up and went dispersed throughout my being. It was all this uncomfortable experience, and I was like, I wanted to get it out of me. I didn't want this energy to shift all the way through me and block almost all of my bodily parts. Felt like they were feeling this energy from the past, these past traumas. This is what Eckhart Tolle refers to as the pain body. It's where all that cyclical pain and trauma is stored in this part of our both body and mind, subconscious mind. Anyway, at that point, it started to freak me out, and I started to feel really spacey, and then I felt this fear, that core fear that night I was telling you about, rise up again. And I felt this impending doom briefly, and it almost clogs up your throat, and you feel it closing in on you because it feels like your ego or something is disappearing. And I went out of that meditation, I spoke to the yogi, and he said a few things that, to be honest, I couldn't really remember what he was saying because I felt quite frazzled and like I was just trying to ground myself again. And I looked in his eyes, and at that point I saw this twinkle that the whole time I've been here so far, the week I've been here, I never saw before. So this twinkle, like he knew exactly what I was talking about, and he knew that on the other side of this fear is freedom and love and peace of a higher quality, of an unconditional kind. But that didn't help me. But it was nice to see, and I left reassured, I guess. And then I had this insight walking back to my room. And I said, beliefs create reality. That's in the dualistic world where you are separate from the world, just like the normal everyday self that you believe you are, and I still believe I am. But that there's a fundamental choice in how you perceive sense perceptions. And also, I realized that I was negatively perceiving freeing myself from my ego temporarily to experience my higher true self. I was looking at that as I'm getting pressed out of reality or squashed out of existence. That's a bad thing. I don't want that to happen because maybe life will change forever. Maybe I'll lose all the people I love. Maybe I'll never end up leaving this ashram because I'll turn crazy or something. I don't even know what it was. It was just this unconscious fear. But when I looked at this fear back in my room, I realized all these beliefs were attached to it. I've done quite a bit of work on my inner belief structures, especially in everyday situations, and more to do with money and relationships and career and confidence and things like that, more practical stuff. I've analysed these beliefs, self-worth, self-love, all of this kind of stuff. And I've seen how flipping these negative beliefs and thought loops fundamentally changes your entire reality. It all starts shaping to reflect this new way you view yourself, and new way you believe you are, and you believe reality works for you. But in this case, this spiritual case, for some reason I hadn't looked at it because it was almost too scary and fundamental. But I looked at it and I realized I was having all these assumptions about what spirituality was showing me that were negative. And I just said, are those true? I don't have any evidence they're true. In fact, when I have surrendered and let go, which is still several times and very powerful times, nothing fundamentally changes except that I feel amazing joy, full body, unconditional joy. And it invigorates everything I do in life. I become more creative and present and loving in my relationships, and life starts to very quickly upwardly spiral. But of course, these are only glimpses. I don't lose all will to live and just feel the urge to sit in a corner and look at a wall and meditate. I mean, perhaps some high levels of this essence, when you tap into it, you do have that urge, but that often takes 10 or 20 or even longer years to reach those levels. What I'm talking about is just a taste of this inner beauty or inner love. So anyway, I ended up just realizing that I could flip all of those thoughts I had about spiritual experiences and temporarily leaving your limited point of view, letting it go and letting your ego slip away, but realizing that in its place is actually peace. You're not thinking per se, you're not believing you're a person per se, and that can be scary when you experience it, but really what I've worked out is it's actually not. You're just sitting silently. It's like that space between all the thoughts that you have. You have a little pause. It's like as if that pause will just extend, and you don't become overwhelmed and absolutely infinitely explode in consciousness or anything like that, which I thought might happen to me. Instead, you just sort of sit, and it builds and it builds and it builds very slowly, and it's quite peaceful. And anyway, as I let go, I just became present, and I became just still, and I became sort of one with the room. And at that point, I forgot to mention, I had to come out of my room after I contemplated all this stuff and go to singing class. I actually shot a little video on the way there that I probably will show you in my vlog. But anyway, I went into that singing class and we were singing this mantra that was something about the everlasting life over death, or conquering true life, or something like that. The meaning was a very empowering, uplifting, everlasting meaning or connotation to it. And I just was present and one, and I really just engaged with the singing, and I didn't expand out or anything like that, but very interestingly, an energy starting like a tiny bud growing out of the soil, like a David Attenborough camera angle where it comes out, little green bud. It's like this coming out of my heart, and it was this purity, this pure love. It started to come out and coil out, and I could feel it just spread around and just clear me, sort of clear out the fear, clear out the clogged energy, very subtly but just so divinely. And I realized at that point I had nothing to fear except my own thoughts. And if I didn't choose to empower those thoughts, and better yet, I didn't even feel the need to think positive thoughts at all. I could even let those go. But it really went from losing the negative thoughts, interpreting it positively, and from that positive interpretation, just letting go completely of all thoughts and connecting with your true self. And then I walked out of the ashram building, room where we did singing. I looked out at the Rishikesh mountains, and I listened to the music that was playing around and all the sounds and everything, and I just had this quality about them of, it was just very satisfying and just very peaceful. Now, in saying all of this, I didn't have that divine explosion of love that I have experienced in the past. That's when my heart chakra exploded open. I didn't experience that intensity where I was crying. It was like an unbelievable state. It was just this pure presence that was tinged with love that couldn't be shaken. And it was infused in every moment up to this point. I still feel it. And God knows if it's going to last. Who knows if it'll even last the next 10 minutes after I put this GoPro down. But it's really good to know that for all of us, for you, whatever fear that you have about your relationships, about your life, about how things will turn out, even about life and death, just looking at being with that and just sort of slipping past it, letting it slip past you. It actually disappears like any other experience, but something is left behind it that's just pure and more true than the fear could ever be. And at that point you just have this peace and love for life, no matter what's currently going on. And my life's not perfect by any means, not by a long shot. I'm working on goals, I've got lots of things I want to experience, lots of challenges ahead. But it doesn't matter, because right now I can say that I'm very satisfied with the present moment. And I think that's some kind of gift that we all deserve to experience, because we're absolutely worthy, and you're absolutely worthy, and you absolutely deserve love. You deserve deep love for yourself. And to be able to sit peacefully with yourself and know that you are absolutely enough from the bottom of your heart, just to sit with that perfection that is your true self. But anyway, I'm no spiritual master by any means. It was just really nice to release that deeper fear, that deeper trauma from my past awakening experience, and really flip the whole thing into a more positive light once again. Motorbikes are starting up. Anyway, I know this has been a bit of a long video, but it just felt like I was going to journal this all down, but I just felt instead of journaling it was too restrictive. I just wanted to speak it out. I don't even know if I'm going to post this or if I'll just watch it back for myself, but either way, it just felt really good to set it free. Now, I still have another week left at the ashram I'm staying in, so who knows if this is only going to build more positively and last, or if there'll be more challenges ahead. Either way, we all have to embrace our challenges in life and just do the best and keep showing up and keep striving to tap into more of our true selves. Striving's probably not the right word, just to be and embody and realise who we truly are, to experience the life we truly want to experience. So I hope this sheds some insight if you have some fears in your practical life, but also in your spiritual life. If you're dealing with any fears, just know that there are these glimpses that will make all those deeper fears, all those deeper struggles and challenges in life just melt away into just these happy moments. And it is like becoming a child once again, in a sense, but with this adult level of appreciation. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and it helps you in some way.